Welcome to Own It, the podcast where we talk to real estate thought leaders about embracing your strengths, taking your career to new heights, and owning your future. I'm Hillary, joined again with my handsome co-host, Mr. Spencer Kroll. Hello.
Wow, I've moved from charming to handsome. This is so, I don't know if that's an upgrade or not, Hillary, and it is always a pleasure to be with you since you are one of the co-founders and chief broker officer of the company. So,
well, you know, I'm gonna start using a thesaurus and come up with some creative adjectives for you. It'll be fun.
now I'm worried.
I have a question. When you think of Seattle, what do you think of?
I think of Boeing and I think of rain.
Rain. Well, I have an awesome guest for us today. He is the founder of Raintown Realty in Seattle. And he is an amazing human being that we're going to get to learn all about. He served as the chair of Washington Autism Alliance. He was on the board for Autism Speaks. He was the vice president of Curing Autism Now. He's been involved with Treehouse, which is an organization that helps children who need to be adopted. He's involved with all sorts of different grassroots humanitarian efforts. He's a good all-around human and very smart person, I think. Rob Ott is going to be our guest. Are you super excited?
I'm very excited. I love good and smart people, so let's get to it.
Yes, let's do it. Welcome to Own It, Rob. I am so excited that you decided to come back from your wonderful vacation at the lake and join us on our extremely entertaining and thought-provoking podcast.
It sounds like we're going to have a great time, Hillary. Thank you so much for inviting me. I am looking forward to this time. I know we're going to have a great time.
Okay, we got a problem here because now we've already set these high expectations that this is going to be fun and enjoyable. So now I'm sweating with pressure here. Anyway.
No pressure. You can come up with one-liners and tell us all about your ex-girlfriends later on in the show. But for now, let's talk to Mr. Rob Ott. You know what was so cool? One time, I think it was last summer, I was driving into West Seattle and visiting my sister-in-law, and go over the bridge, go through the neighborhood, and there's a Raintown Realty sign smack in my face on the main road. And I was like, yes, Rob. So exciting.
There we are. And I was probably, I had been a partner at SIA for probably a matter of 2 months at that time. Go us go. There we go.
It's so awesome. So I love to start these out by really hearing from you how did you get into real estate? Did you wake up when you were 5 in kindergarten and decide I'm going to sell houses?
No, I did not.
Shocker.
Shocker. You know, what's funny is this. I got out of college and I was trying to find my way. I'm trying to figure out what to do. The only jobs I was offered were at Pepsi and at Boeing. And I was like, I don't want to work at either one of those. So I've been working in the restaurant business and now I just doing my thing and, you know, managing people. And I realized that at the age of whatever it was, 22 or 23, like I would maxed out. I was done. I mean, if I was going to stay doing what I was doing, if I ever wanted to get big, I'm going to have to do something different. And so I was just thinking about that and talked to 2 people that came into my restaurant all the time. One guy was an insurance salesman. I thought that could be a good deal. I wanted a job or a career where the harder and smarter I worked, the more money I could make. And so I was really focusing on that. So I followed around this insurance guy and they were super successful. And you know what they talked about is death and sickness and all these unfun things. And I thought, I can't live my life this way. We were talking to people, getting applications for insurance, but the conversations are always like, what is your wife going to do when you die? You know, how your fit kid's going to go to college? And I thought, you know, this is important, but it's not really me. And so I followed around this gal. Her name is Sherry Klein, still a very good friend of mine, mentor. She's been retired for a long time, but she's like a second mom to me. I followed her around for a week and I fell in love with real estate. I said, this is what I want to do. And what I tell you, what affirmed it for me, Hillary, is this. I was telling some of my friends that I want to get in real estate, and they said this. They said, Rob, you're going to suck at real estate.
That's kind.
Don't do it. You don't realize how hard it is. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, that just affirms I got to do this, right? When people say I can't, that means I got to do it. So the rest is history.
So you got into real estate because you followed around your mentor. You fell in love with real estate. I think Spencer and I can attest that there's just something about the industry that tugs at our heartstrings, and being able to put people into houses and help them through difficult times, whether it's they need to sell or they're lucky enough their family's expanding. What was it about that first foray into the space that really touched you?
I tell you, at the end of the day, I want to be a hero. I want to feel like I'm doing great things. I want to feel like I'm helping people make great decisions. I want to try to make the world a better place. And so I look for ways to be able to do that. And when I got into real estate, just talking to the same people that my mentor Sherry was talking to, they're just telling me how Sherry had changed her life, how things were working for them, and their money they were making in real estate, and working to make sure the house is in good shape. They just really trusted her, and I thought, this is what I want. This is what I want. I want to have a relationship with people where I can help them do well. Real estate kind of found me, right? Because that's just the way I am anyway, and this is the perfect job for me. It's the perfect scenario.
Have you always gone out of your way to help people? Is that something, because a lot of people aren't drawn to that?
I think so. And if you ask my mother, she's not here, so you can't. I can get her on the phone if you want me to. But I think she would tell you that there's two things I've been drawn to ever since I was a kid. She tells stories of when I was 3 or 4 years old. I would draw pictures, and I would take them around the neighborhood and sell them to see if anybody would give me money. So I've had a little bit of salesman in me my entire life, but I've always been drawn to help people, to help people's lives become better or tolerable or whatever it might be. So I've always been very drawn to the special needs community. Always been very drawn to the people that don't have a lot of money.
Yeah, and you have a personal touch with your son, right? Having autism or being on the spectrum, and really being an advocate for that whole community too, which is when we were at an event in Seattle, and you were going down that path of telling that story. It was just beyond inspiring what you and your family have gone through and what you're doing for other people.
That's very kind of you to say that. That was a tough time in my life, having a son that's on the spectrum. Everyone knows autism these days, but 20 years ago, the only thing people knew about autism was that movie, The Rain Man, right? Everyone knew The Rain Man and how he's so good with numbers. And I thought, man, I want a kid like that too. And I didn't understand that's not what they're like. That's not it. That's a movie. Come on. It's just different.
It's not real life?
It's not, darn it. No, it's not Dustin Hoffman. He didn't make me millions of dollars. It's not the way it works. Yeah, I appreciate that. I should have known that I was going to have a son or a kid with special needs, because I have always been drawn to that. When I was a kid, my best friend was mentally challenged. He was my neighbor, and we did everything together as a kid. We were buddies. Then he moved away to Idaho, but we still keep in touch. Yeah. Davey Harms is his name. Yeah.
So many people that we talk to on the podcast, and really any agent, I think that is really successful always comes from, it's not like, oh, I want to make a lot of money, right? There are 3 agents I know where that's really all they care about, and I'll say their names off camera or off the podcast. I'll tell you who they are.
Yeah.
And they're very successful. But almost anybody, who is successful, and however they come through it, whatever system they have, is really coming from contribution. They want to make the world a better place. They want to make the home buying process better. I want to talk about the home buying process with you, because I know that you were with traditional brokerages, and what did you not like about the traditional brokerage model?
Well, one thing that I noticed about the traditional brokerage model, right, is that they only care about themselves. They only care about themselves. They want everything you do to be about them. Like every time you do a deal, it's like, look at, Rob can show everyone how good of a brokerage we are. Everything was about, I won't say any names, the big blue W, right? It's about the big blue W. We have a big blue W here. Or it's about the colors of the company. Everything was about making sure that they got credit to build their name. And, they just kept increasing what we were paying them. And they weren't about us. They didn't help us do business. Instead, they just, I don't know, they just kind of suck the life out of you. that's their job. I feel is just to see what they can do to take more money from you. I was looking for something different.
And Raintown, genius name, by the way. I mean, what do you think of when you think of Seattle, aside from rain and Grey's Anatomy? But
I do not think Grey's. I'm sorry, I do not think that.
What, really?
Well, Sleepless in Seattle. Sleepless in Seattle.
Yeah, well, that's a good one. I got to go watch that tonight.
Yeah,
that's a classic. But what did you want Raintown to be? Because culture is hugely important, I know, to you, and building a team in a very supportive family feel environment. What was your inspiration with creation of Raintown?
It's a great question. So through the history that I've had with different brokerages, I've been with 3 before I came to Side. It's very competitive inside, right? A lot of people will, if they could steal your they call them leads, you steal them your lead, they will. There's, it sounds horrible, but there's drinking, there's a lot of drugs, there's a lot of divorce. There's just a lot of things that I don't want to be a part of. And I felt myself just always pulling away from them because you could see that happening in front of your face, right? You could see, just bad stuff going on. I wanted to create an experience for people that come in here that was, I don't know, maybe more wholesome, more family focused, more concentrated on them, their experience with me, their growth, both professionally and personally. That's what I wanted to have. I don't want it to be just about money. We all have to make money at the end of the day, but I'm not sure about your areas, but over here, about 5 to 7% of the agents are actually successful and renew their license. That's a horrible number. I mean, 93 to 95% never renew their license one time. We are failing our people. We are failing our people in a huge way, right? These guys come in with goals and ambitions to better their lives, and instead we take what we can from them and kick him in the butt out the door, and that's ridiculous. So I have completely flipped that. So our success rate is about 95%. Almost everyone that walks in the door is successful because we make sure.
That's amazing.
That really.
How are you recruiting, or how are you finding people, or are they finding you?
It's a mixture of both. I think that sometimes my agents will hear that someone's having a bad experience and they'll say you should talk to Rob. Sometimes they maybe they were a past client and they realize what we do and they want to come over here. And sometimes, I'm a partner with Side. Sometimes they'll find me someone to talk to. And we just talk about mutual experiences, talk about whether or not we're going to make great partnerships. That's what it comes down to.
Have you had people leave as well, where you decided it wasn't a fit, or they decided it wasn't a fit, and how does that go?
Yeah, we've had all that. So sometimes people go because they're become bigger and they wanted to go off and do something on their own, and that's okay. It's one of those things that happens, right? It's one of those things that happens, especially when you're at a big box brokerage. They don't have any room for you to, kind of be under you, but and stay. They have to move away in order to not have to pay me. So they leave because they become big, they become successful, and I appreciate that. Some people, after a while, they understand that the rigors of real estate is not for them. This is not an easy career. I'm not even going to say this is a job. Real estate is a lifestyle, and everyone's got to understand that. Your husband, wife, your kids all have to understand that this is a lifestyle. That means if your phone rings, you answer. It's just the way it is. It's the way it goes, right? I do have to go out on Saturdays. I do have to go out on Sundays and weeknights. And you can't just say, "Can't you stay home tonight?" This is the way it is, and some people can't handle that.
That's so funny you say that. I was just literally going to say, how many times have we taken our kids to open houses? Lots. How many times have you taken your kids to show a house? Oh, me. I think we can all raise our hands and say that we've done that numerous times, but it is a lifestyle, right? And
yeah,
it's a lifestyle that I think certain people are just flourishing in, but it's not TV. It's not $1 million listings. Like you said, it's not the movie. It's not Rain Man. It's not what you see Selling Sunset. They just walk in and, pour some champagne and poof, the house is sold.
Does not work like that, does it? Yeah. They don't talk about the hours and hours and hours and hours of time you spent trying to make relationships to have those opportunities. That's what real estate is about. Relationships, belly to belly stuff.
You know, I have a question for you, though. I want to flip this a little bit, because one of the balances, or one of the issues that people have, is a life-work balance, especially in real estate. I dated an agent for a while. That's a good story also for another time. But anyway, but we were together, and we had a deal that if we were on the phone with each other and a client called, all we had to say was client, and we'd just hang up and switch off the phone, right? Because we knew that we had to talk to the client. It wasn't like, oh, honey, I'm going to call you back. It was like, bam, client. On the other hand, we ended up finally saying, you know what, Friday night or 7 p.m. or something, phone is off. So how do you, especially you have, I think, a special needs son, right? And you need to spend time with your family. You need you time. How do you balance that?
No, I'd say, first of all, work-life balance is bullshit.
Okay, well.
It's not. Here's the deal. People come to me and they're like, Rob, I don't have any money. I where am I supposed to help them create balance? Right? Rob, my husband doesn't like me anymore. Where's the balance in that? There can't be balance. Sometimes you have to work harder and have less life. And sometimes you have to have more life and less work, right? So when you're developing your business, especially for the first 5 years, that life part of it is not there. It's all work. Mm-hmm. You have to do that. It's just the way it is. Right? If you're going to survive and if you're going to thrive. Now, anyone can get in business and do 8 deals a year. And, that's survive, possibly buy a house, do those sort of things. So if you're going to thrive, if you want a business where you can make good money, you have to sacrifice 5 years of your life. Right? Wow. I try to help people make that into 3 or 4. Right? And how many stories have I heard, Spencer, where people say, I used to date a girl who was a real estate agent, but not anymore. And I can tell you some of the reasons why, because we are so stuck in our real estate, right? It takes over our life, and either you join it with us or you don't.
Yeah, in my case, it had more to do with a very wealthy plastic surgeon. But anyway,
who wasn't you, right? Let's.
Who was to be fair? I am a very poor plastic surgeon. I mean, meaning I'm very bad at it. No, but okay. So that is such a badass attitude. I appreciate that, and that is very much like, it's like hardcore, and and that is great. Your approach, and what's great about it is you're not apologetic about it, and you're saying this is the deal. So an agent comes to you, because I know that you coach a lot of agents, right? I know that you always want to help other people. So you're coaching agents. Someone comes to you, like if I'm coming to you, I'm like, you know what, I'm getting burned out, or I don't know how to balance this or that. Is it just a particular person that you're looking for to work with you, or you think it's just that's just what you need to do to be successful in real estate? Does this question make sense?
Yeah, I think so. My number one ingredient, I don't care what your background is. I don't care where you've worked before. Even though if you've done anything, like B2B business, you have a harder time in real estate. It's because you don't understand. You're not selling houses. You're only selling people. Today, we're selling ourselves every day, right? People believe in me, and so they'll work with me, right? That's the case. But I only work with people that are hungry. I only want people to come work with me. They say, Rob, I need to accomplish something. Rob, I need to make money. Rob, I haven't been successful, and I need help. And those are the people that we get along with the most, because they understand that it's hard out there by yourself. It's hard out there with some sort of mentor, without a mentor. And so they come to me wanting something different than what they have.
What was your why, or where was your bottom? We all, like you said, it takes a long time. And if you have a family to quote unquote support, or a mortgage, or a car payment, or you want to eat something other than top ramen every day of the week, what was that time like for you? And where did you find inspiration?
No, that's a great question. So when I first started in real estate, it was tough. It was tough. I'd say my second year was harder than my first, because my first year I used up all the relationships I had. And I sold 16 homes or something, 16 homes my first year. And so I was eating. I was okay. That second year, when those relationships are done, I was starving. Like, where am I gonna get deals? That was really hard. My hardest time, though, happened in 2009, 2010. And a little bit about that story, but it's a really hard time for me. I was already moving and grooving in real estate, and then boom, I had my son with autism. And back 20 years ago, a lot of people didn't know much about autism. There's still one in, what was it back then, 150,000 kids, one in 250,000 kids. So no one really knew anything about it. And so everything we did had to be invented. I had to travel around and meet specialist doctors and all that, and it sucked up all my time. It sucked up my money, and then I decided I was going to build and develop to make some extra money, and then the market crashed, and we lost about everything. I lost about everything. I was very leveraged, and we had some foreclosures happen. It was ugly. That was the lowest time in my business. And you asked me what inspired me to get out of that. There's not one event that inspired me, but I'll tell you what I did. I turned off everything negative in my life. Friends were negative, people were complaining, people were whining, people were bitching. I just turned their ass off. Bam, turn them off. Stop listening to the news. News is all about getting people scared, and I could not listen to it anymore. And I just got off my butt and I just started from square one. I just said, here we go, we're going to get moving. And I worked hard.
Was that a shift for you? Like, did you feel you were becoming a different person?
As far as when I was building and developing, or what do you mean?
Well, no. When you decided that you're turning off all the negative stuff, like, was that the stuff that was holding you back, or did you just need a shift because of circumstance now?
That's a great question, Spencer. I think the deal is I'm always developing myself and who I am as a person, right? And I did not realize at that time how much of I don't know, we call it a puppet to the people around me. And that I believed that everything that everyone said. And even though it was a hard time in my life, it was a time where I could really help define who I am and what I stood for by saying, that's enough of that. I don't need that anymore. I need to have positive things happening in my life. I need to always concentrate on getting better, not on the world getting worse. So that was a life-changing time for me.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
It's so interesting because I feel, clarify for me about your own situation, but I feel like I love and find strength in helping other people, right? Build their businesses, giving them an opportunity that they wouldn't have before, and really helping others also. But in that same vein, if you were surrounded by others who were constantly negative, I suck that in and I internalize it, whether I mean to or not. So it's almost like you had to say, okay, you had to realize it, right? I am sucking in the negativity, turn it off, like Book of Mormon, turn it off, and go into the positive world.
Yeah.
So did you seek out more positivity then, or did you just put nose to the grindstone and earmuffs on and say, I'm focusing just on this?
I focused on things that, to get myself out of a funk, I focused on things that I feel like I'm good at. I focused on things and people that I knew were going to bring a smile to my face, right? People are going to help build me up. Right? I had hired a coach right after that. And I told him his job isn't to help me do more business. His job is to help my life become better. That's his job. Help me get my family back. Help make sure that, I'm giving them the attention that they deserve. Because going back into your question earlier, Spencer, I tend to be a little work focused. I can be that workaholic, right? That's just kind of who I am. I enjoy my work. I enjoy helping people. I don't even look at it as work. But I needed things around me that were super incredibly positive. I spent more time playing music. I am a drummer.
Cool.
I have it. Yeah, and I love doing it. And so we spent more time playing music and being around, people that enjoyed music too. Fishing, going outdoors. I'd spent more time doing that, and it helped bring me back some energy, ground me again.
This was a life coach, a business coach? Who was it when you were saying coaching?
He's a coach with Tom Ferry, Tom Ferry organization. I was, when I came out of this funk, I was just grooving, man. I was just like, I got to get some business done. I got to make up for some lost time. Our life savings is gone. So it's go time. So I was just going. I was just selling a bunch of houses. I think the most I sold in 1 year was 99. Myself, I had an assistant. I was flying. I couldn't get to 100.
Good
I couldn't
Lord.
get to triple digits. That was dumb. But I was doing whatever I had to do in order to make up time. And then one day I just looked up and I'm like, oh, where's my family? They know that they're around here someplace. And I just realized they've been really good because they know who I am, but they also know that I'm trying to make sure that they're okay. So they understood it, but I'm not okay. And it's no good for me to make the world a better place, but my family is not. Right. So I had to work on that. And so I called his coach and I said, I'm only looking for you to help me get my stuff straight. All right. We can call that kind of work-life balance for sure, because I had gone completely the other way. My typical day was I would get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and make breakfast for the kids, do some work until 7 or whenever when they got up. They go to school. I'd go to work, come back home at 7, right? And then, say goodnight to them, and I'd go back to work till about 11 o'clock. I'd finish things up. Then I'd wake up next morning and do it that every single day of the week.
That's not healthy.
I'm still alive, Hillary. I made it.
All right, so I want to go back to something in terms of helping people, because I read somewhere, and I don't know if this is true. Do you actually work with people who've been incarcerated?
Yeah. So in 2 different ways. One of the places we play music is we like to play music in prisons. So that's one way we do that. When you get older, people want to spend, I don't know, I want people to never leave when I start playing music. And when you're playing in a prison, they can't never leave. So it's kind of a great thing.
Wow. I'm going to resurrect my comedy career there. Yeah. There you go.
I'm just trying to help you out, buddy. But the other thing is we like to work with people that have struggled in their past. So I have people that I regularly work with that are on my team that have struggled and have gone through what they need to do in order to become reformed. And when they come here, we double and triple check that. But I have 2 guys that work for me now that are amazing human beings who have had horrible beginnings to their life, and now they're living the American dream. One of the guys, he bought himself a house. He's got 2 kids now, a lovely wife. His life is on track. His life is back on track. And it's one thing to say that you got someone, you helped out someone to make money and buy a house and all that. But this guy, we helped transform his life into a better way. The last chapter of his life is going to be a lot happier now. And I take great pride in that. I really do.
What I'm hearing is that you are creating Raintown in a way that is impactful and meaningful, and you are leading those people who are in that company by example. And I think the trickle down effect that ultimately will happen is that they're all going to help other people in some way or fashion, and that's going to grow for you organically.
I hope so. I thank you for that, Hillary. I hope so. That has to be our hope, is that if we're going to make the world a better place, if we're going to make our community a better place, it has to start with us, but it doesn't end with us. Right? People have to learn how to treat other people and how to teach other people. Right? We all have to learn to be good students too. If we think we've already arrived, then we're pretty much dead. So hopefully the people that we have here are going out in the community and doing great things. And I know they are. I got good people.
Yeah.
I got good people.
People talk a lot about working on their business instead of in their business. Right, which is, I think, always the goal. Do you help at all with, and you mentioned that people are doing well, they're buying homes and stuff like that. Do you mentor them at all in building wealth, or is that something you concentrate on?
Yeah, I do. I think that is super important. And we talk a little bit about the box brokerage, right, and how they work. They don't tell you anything. They give the same classes they've been doing for 20, 30 years. It's ridiculous. They just don't seem to care. And these guys are working until they're 75, 80 years old, and they just keel over dead because they've never learned how to make money in real estate. They've never figured it out. So my goal is to help everyone. And I showed them the Rule of 72. I showed them how to pay off a home in 12 years. I showed them how to do these things in order to make sure that they are acquiring wealth so that they can live a better life. I want these guys to be able to retire someday and not have to worry about where their next meal's coming.
Mm-hmm. What's the Rule of 72?
Rule of 72 is Albert Einstein. We call it really an invention, but it's more like a discovery. And it tells you how fast money doubles. How fast do homes appreciate in your area, Hillary? What's your average appreciation?
Oh gosh, I think they easy 10% a year.
10%? Well, that's
Hmm.
amazing. So what you do is you take 72, you divide it by 10, and it tells you every 7.2 your house value is going to double, right? That's the way that it works. So, and it's just a simple mathematical equation that can help you figure out how you can make money. Where you should have your money at. Should you have it in a 401k? Should you have it in a house? Should you have it in crypto? Where should you have it? You have to look at average appreciation over a good period of time. Ours here in Seattle is 6. It's actually 5.86, but we ran up to 6 because it's easier math. 72 divided by 6 makes 12 years. Every 12 years, your home's going to double in value, right? So that's how you pay off a home in 12 years. You just buy 2. Don't put down such a big down payment. Or else buy a home 1 year, wait a year, so you can put down a smaller down payment, move into your second house, rent out your first house. In 12 years, that home's going to double in value. You're going to sell off one home, pay cash for the other one, pay off the mortgage, and you're done. Very simple, very easy. People don't talk about it, but it's just numbers.
Nobody talks about it. You know what's so funny is when one of the big things when we created Side was I wanted to teach people how to actually best set up their business, right? And almost every single realtor that I spoke with didn't know that they should create an S corp or an LLC depending on where they were. They were 1099 contractors running it all through their income tax and not taking any advantage of the tax code. So you're taking your own knowledge and belief in the real estate industry and teaching your team, who then I'm sure is teaching their clients. So you are elevating the business.
Yeah, I appreciate that. We are. We teach a class. It's called How to Pay Off Your Home in 12 Years and Still Drink Your Lattes. Because here's what people think. They're like, wow, this is scary. I don't buy a second house. I don't want to be a landlord. Like, you'd be a landlord if you realize the money you're going to make in 12 years. You would be a landlord. You would hire someone. You would do it. Right? It's just what you would do. And so when people say, well, I'm going to just buy a house, I'm just going to work hard to pay it off, because that's what everyone wants to do. They're just like, I'm just going to save my money and pay off my mortgage. And you're going to stop drinking your lattes. You're going to stop going on vacations. You're going to stop doing everything. For me, I can buy 2 homes and then screw around. I can take vacations because this money is happening, whatever I do with it or not. The money is still coming. It's still appreciating. If you look at 2009, 2010, and 11, and how much it dropped, 40%. 10 years later, it's still doubled. 2018, and it doubled from 2008 from the pinnacle, right? So it really does happen. It really is a great thing. And I think if we taught that to our people, they'd have a better life. So I teach that class all the time.
Yeah, let me know when you're teaching it. I'd love to see that class. That would be great. I'm actually, and just as a trade-off, I'm actually teaching the rule of zero, which is I teach you how I invest in things. So I'm going to talk about how I bought Polaroid and Xerox and, But I do, but no, seriously, I do want to know about this class when you have it. Maybe is this something you teach, this is only for your agents, or do you do this with your clients as well, or who does this?
We'll do it for the public as well. I think the public needs to know this.
Yeah.
They really do. I think that investing in houses is so much more secure than investing in stocks. And we all need to have 401ks, don't get me wrong. But if you really want to have money when you retire, it's not going to be because you saved up enough money in your 401k. It'll get you to the end, but it won't get you anything you want.
When you are teaching these classes and stuff like that, does this help you get more clients as well? Is this kind of like a feedback loop for you so the clients know that you're helping them, the agents know you're helping the clients? Is that how you're attracting the people you want in your life?
Certainly. I think we all help each other this way. Knowledge is key. And when we can, I had a gal teach this class. Her name is Emily. She was the rookie of the year last year for our team and for a lot of us around here. I think she's voted one of the top 8 rookies for the year. But anyway, she taught this class after she'd been with me for about 6 months to people in her church. And this lady showed up. She's got to be 80 years old, trying to figure out, this is a hard thing, right? This gal's 80 years old. She doesn't have any money. Her roof's falling apart. She's in such a horrible spot. And we were able to help her figure out how to make it to the end of her life and not have to worry about anything. It's really cool. And it wasn't exactly the rule of 72, but we were able to reach out to people because of the rule of 72 and have a class for them. And they would talk to us about their problems, talk to us about their real estate, talk to us about their successes and their failures. And we're able to help them make good decisions. And out of that, we got new clients.
Yeah.
We got new clients.
I think, and that's also the whole idea, right? Of not just paying it forward, but educating people and the law of abundance, right? Why should I hold on to this information when I can share it with you and you can profit or better your life? Rob, I have a question.
Yeah.
What books or podcasts or books on audio, device do you listen to, or have you encountered lately that are good, that would be beneficial to our audience?
Rhinoceros Success. This is I got it on sale, so you can sell books for less. This is a book about shutting up and being tough. That's the deal. Shut up and get stuff done. This book kind of makes fun of who we are and how rhinos built different than we are. They're tough. They got thick skin, right? They can put up with anything. They charge. They get stuff done, and I love that. Second one is Compound Effect. This is a great book that everyone needs to read, because this talks about, Spencer, how to invest and how to make money, thinking about long term. The people who make all the money aren't the ones who keep on doing things different. They're the ones who find out how to make money and keep doing it over and over and over again. I love that about this book. And then,
oh, that's a good one.
Oh yeah, sure.
Great book. And
5 love languages.
I like to teach this in relation to real estate, because a lot of times we think about that with our spouse or with our kids or something like that. But we also think about it, how do we relate to other people, especially when we meet them the very first time? You're thinking, how do I show you that I care about you? Well, if you let's take a look at the 5 love languages. Everyone read this. Everyone get that, right? And then look for the signs that they show how they care for the people around them, because that's how they want to be shown love, right? Or that you're cared for. And so, this has been, I just made it up one day. I read this. I'm like, this could work for everybody. And I just started doing it. And it's been a difference maker to me.
That's a good, I did, what's funny is there's one for kids too. I'm looking over at my bookshelf that is 5 love languages for kids. That helps you communicate better with your kids. And now that you said that, how genius is it for someone who's doing client appreciation events or gifts or experiences to consider that first, rather than a blanket to all my clients, I'm sending you a present, when what if 25% of your clients would have way better interaction with like an event or something like that? Genius.
It makes sense,
gold
right?
nuggets every time.
It makes sense, though. People want to be shown their love, they're cared for in different ways. We got to meet them there. Them there.
I love it. Well, thank you, Rob. You are, and I've got to point out, the rhino statue behind you is so cool. When you mentioned the rhinoceros book, I was like, oh, look, there's a rhino. Is that your favorite animal?
My dog is my favorite animal. But if I'm going to be something, I'm going to be a rhino.
Cool.
Dogs are amazing. I mean, dogs are the perfect animal. But rhinos are a great symbol of what we need to be, right? We got a horn in case we need to poke somebody. But we're mostly made for defense, to be able to just be tough and be able to take the pressure and the problems that people give us. That's what it is. We need a poke, we can, but most of the time it's just about being sturdy, being strong, and charging straight ahead. That's why I like it. This is a good symbol for me every day.
Well, congratulations on all the success, and I can't wait to see where you've expanded to next year or next time I see you, because I have no doubt that you will make it happen.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. Hillary, Spencer, thanks for taking all the time, all the energy to do this. We'll catch you guys soon.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.